It's that time of year, folks. Disagreement and debate are in the air.
But the two things that everyone knows for a fact is that topical commercials about the election are lame and Howie's Market is the best.
When I think about casting a vote, I think about the writers of Los Angeles magazine casting their votes for Howie's Market as the best butcher in town.
And when I think about policy, I think about Howie's store-wide policy of always having a parking lot barbecue every single weekend, rain or shine.
And when it comes to a ticket that everyone can support, I think of the ticket I pull at the butcher counter when I'm looking for the best meat and seafood in town.
Howie's Market also has the most qualified cabinet of appointed spirits, wines, and craft beer for all those who supported the repeal of Prohibition back in 1933.
That's right, Adam. Howie's Market are staunch defenders of the 21st Amendment of the Constitution.
God bless these United States of America, and God bless Howie's Market.
The best stocked, the best looking, and the best run grocery store in the country.
Walla Walla is a town in my home state of Washington, and it's often said, it's a city so nice, they named it twice. Well, our podcast earlier this week was so fascinating to so many listeners that we are doubling it up and running it back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fellowship. My name is David Frost. He is Richard Nixon, and this episode is the reaction to the reaction, because we have a lot of reaction from Monday's episode, and there is no time like the present to address it. So that is what we are going to do. But first, let me welcome in Ryan Engle. Ryan, thank you for availing yourself twice in 1 week. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. Actually, you know what? I'm doing really good. And you know why?
Really well.
I brought back something.
Yes, you did.
It's liquid gold. Brought it from the Ina. Hot take. Hawaii makes the best coffee in the world. And it isn't even close. Adam just put another sip to his mouth. First thing we said today, first sip, we just went, wow.
Wow.
The aroma and the taste and the caffeinated punch it packs is that of something more heavy-bodied. So you said it eloquently. I'll let you take the floor and describe it again. I'd never heard someone describe it this way. It was perfect, especially for this podcast. How would you describe Hawaiian coffee, Adam?
Hawaiian coffee is the Miller Lite of coffee.
Yes.
You get a full-bodied experience with a very light, easy-to-drink consistency.
Case closed. Well, thanks for listening, guys. It's been a great episode. Drop that link in my bio.
That's not what we would want them to do. We would want them to listen, subscribe, and rate. For those of you that missed episode 104, our very last episode, which we recorded a few days ago, it is probably required listening that you go back and listen to that if you are going to get anything out of our forthcoming conversation. So I invite you to go spin that thing before you listen to this one. But if you are lazy, I will let you know that we did a segment on former President Donald Trump's remarks at a recent rally where he spoke about Arnold Palmer and said the following.
But Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. This man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it.
Ryan, your positions and takes may have changed, may have not changed since Monday, but on Monday's show, after I played that audio, you argued a few points, and please let me lay out the points before you interject. The points you argued were that...
Are you asking me not to interrupt?
What's the point? You argued that Donald Trump never actually talked about Arnold Palmer's penis because he never specifically named the body part that caused other professional golfers to come out of the shower with Arnold Palmer and say, "Oh my God, that's unbelievable."
Fact check, true.
You also argued that the legacy media and your broadcast partner were making assumptions and that we are always looking for moments to catch Donald Trump red-handed.
Fact check, true.
You also called me biased, and so biased that I am incapable of seeing my own bias.
Yeah, I see it every day.
I want you to know that as your best friend, I defend your right to say and think all of these things about Trump, about the media, and about me, because they are so unimportant in the grand scheme of life and our relationship that they simply do not matter to how I feel about you. But what I would like to do today is read some of the reaction from our audience and give you the opportunity to react to the reaction.
React.
Mick DeBrick wrote on YouTube, quote, "I hope this is strictly shtick because I am shocked at Ryan's take on what Trump said. I am all for locker room humor, but I expect more decorum from a former president and current presidential candidate, especially regarding Mr. Palmer. I thought for sure that Ryan would have protected the king's name and not tolerate anyone speaking of Arnold Palmer in that context. I think the king's legacy should be protected at all costs." End quote. Ryan, you have the floor.
Would Arnie maybe have sent him a letter after that? Maybe.
What do you mean by that? Send a letter.
If anyone ever acted out of character in the grand scheme of golf decorum in the professional game, Arnold Palmer would send them a letter. If you're the king, you got to be the king, right? But I mean, it was not, like I said, a podium talk.
It quite literally was Donald Trump speaking from a podium.
It was a rally.
Are these rallies not held, in your mind, to the same standard?
There's no presidential seal. There's no podium. There's no Associated Press asking questions. It's him rallying up his troops. That's what it is. It's the campaign trail. Look, you might not like the style in which he does it, and I get you. I understand. Donald Trump is crazy, dude. His style is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. But don't sit here on this high hill and act like, oh, that wasn't presidential. No one does it like that. There is countless footage of all these guys acting out of pocket on the campaign trail at rallies, saying stuff. This guy is so polarizing in the style in which he does things so much, people are just frothing to jump at the negativity, and that's what they did. Look, Trump's not good at this kind of stuff. He was trying to be lighthearted and funny and hold the king up. If you can't see his intent, it's one thing to hear that clip and to beat this dead horse to the ground. But if you watch the video, if you can't see that that man's intent was to make Arnold Palmer look good. Now, we could argue whether he failed at accomplishing that or not, but I'm more of an intent guy. Intent matters to me. In this day and age, most common people are sick of the phony politician thing. This is a classic, funny soundbite. Can't we just fucking let this thing be funny? I don't think it was unpresidential, or I don't think he was attacking Mr. Palmer. Those are some pretty big stretches. I don't think it was as overboard as people are making it. And I am the Arnold Palmer guy. I'm not the Trump guy. I fucking hate politics. We had this conversation off air. I'm against the system. I think it's all bullshit. I think they're pinning us against each other. I'm not taking the bait. That being said, I feel like I can sit enough in the middle and be like, look, I take him for what he is. Guy's a fucking asshole, but it's kind of funny. Maybe I'm not articulating it well, and I didn't in the last episode, but what I'm trying to say, we're all living our lives, and there's the real world, and then we expect these people to just be puppets for us and say the perfect thing on the air because that's presidential. Those days are over, dude. That's bullshit. These guys are all fucking crooked. Everyone in Congress, everyone in the Senate. So I'm sitting here going, calm down, everybody. Let's have fun with the sound bites. No one's trying to take the king down. No one's trying to make him look bad. That was Trump's very idiotic way of making him look good, and it's fucking hilarious.
Scott P. Miller wrote on YouTube, quote, I think Engle demonstrated some textbook projection here. All of his characterizations of Adam Hawk were exactly and actually what Engle himself was doing. Telling Hawk that he's biased while showing his own bias seems biased. Engle is usually provocative and has great takes, but this wasn't it. For all of the talk about Arnie's crank, none of the real questions were addressed. Was Mr. Palmer actually not a core lord because he looked like a stand bag from the waist down? Did the king always wear pants because he had to keep his tip in his tube sock? Did he win all those majors while playing with 15 clubs? This is the type of thing I was hoping for from the iPod broadcast. End quote.
That's hilarious.
Those are some pretty strong jokes from Scott Miller there.
Yeah. Clearly, that comment was a bait and switch, which those were some hilarious jokes right there. I love how he made it feel real serious up front and then hit us with, those were knockout punches right there.
Pretty good. Scott, I wanted to
Pretty good. That was great.
Yes. Scott, I wanted to do jokes as well in the conversation on Monday.
But his feelings were too hurt.
The conversation went somewhere else on Monday, and that's fine. I candidly and honestly am on script. Engle is not. It's what makes him him. I'm not looking to change any of his style because we get a lot of magic from Engle's approach. Vintage Golfwear wrote on YouTube, quote, even Arnold Palmer's daughter was disgusted by Trump's remarks about her dad, end quote. And before you respond to that, Ryan, I do want to point out that Peg Palmer Wares did tell ABC News that she thought the comments were, quote, disrespectful, inappropriate, and unacceptable. And she also told ABC that she is an unaffiliated voter in North Carolina and declined to disclose who she is voting for. I ask you, Ryan, your reaction to Arnold Palmer's daughter's reaction.
I'm in no position to talk about any daughter's reaction to any man. Not my place in the world. But I'll say this. They went to her, they riled her up, asked her the question, so of course she feels that way and she gave those statements. I would have been more impressed if it was her statement out to the world rather than ABC News digging up some more dirt and trying to sell some newspapers. That's my thing. I'm against the system, against the establishment. I have no business talking about Arnold Palmer's daughter's reaction to it, but I'll say this. Fuck ABC News and the whole political climate we live in. I think it's trash. It's bullshit. And that right there is just a perfect example of it. So that's what I feel about Arnold Palmer's daughter's statements. Good for her. I hope it didn't hurt her feelings. I hope she's nuanced enough to see that Trump failed at trying to make Arnold Palmer look good at his rally. But that's all it was, folks. It's time to move on. But Adam doesn't want to.
It's not that I don't want to. I haven't seen reaction like this to any of the episodes that we've done. So as your friend,
just teasing. Keep going.
Just want to give you the opportunity to respond to the responses.
Adam came in here real lawyer-like this morning. He's got his little bifocals on. He actually put some hair gel in. He's buttoned all the way up with a long sleeve polo and the sweater over it with the collar placket kind of poking out the top. He's looking real EP this morning. I'm wondering why. I feel like I'm walking into a trap here. He's going to have some weird fucking emotional political speech at the end, and I'm just going to be like attached to it. I don't know, folks. We'll see where this goes.
You want to talk about assumptions?
Well, I mean, that's what we're doing here, right? That's what the last episode was. That's what this is. We're just talking about assumptions, yeah?
My favorite reaction from our last episode came from our dear friend Casey Quinn, who wrote, quote, Mom and Dad are fighting 2 Christmases.
Casey Quinn really, when he swings, he hits.
Casey, I love the comment. I really do. But what I love more is that Engle and I on Monday, we're not fighting. And we're not fighting now. And I think that we have been able to show that these conversations are possible without fighting. And yes, sure, Engle called me biased and selectively outraged and on the left and awkward and butthurt, but I don't care. I truly do not
Because he's
care.
comfortable with who he is.
Thank you. The only thing I care about, truly care about, is that the audience understands my intentions. I did not bring the Trump audio to the show for any political purpose, nor was I outraged. I brought it for the newsworthiness and the comedy. We are a brand who proudly champions Arnold Palmer as our North Star. And if a presidential candidate is going to publicly invoke his crank, there is no more qualified show to have that discussion than us. And I also want to be clear and totally honest and totally transparent that I did not bring the audio to the show to have fun at Arnold Palmer's expense. I brought it to the show to make fun of Donald Trump and to make fun of how and why he told the story, and to really drive home how much of a creep he sounded like when he said he loves women.
And I love women.
Because to me,
I love women.
And I love women.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you really go back and if you can be completely neutral in listening to that whole thing again, that part is the best part.
And I love women.
Of the entire thing. And that's the part that all these comedians try to replicate. It's when he's talking about something and then he'll pause and like really put the hammer down on one specific tiny part of it and say it differently and then continue on.
And I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this guy...
That's like the Trump shtick. And that whole statement, if you go back and listen to it, the part where he pauses and goes back and goes, and I love women.
And I love women.
That's the funniest part of the whole thing, in my opinion.
great. Love your opinion. Gave me the heebie-jeebies.
What?
But listen.
That's fucking hilarious.
Great. I love that there are two different ways to hear that audio. But to me, you have to make fun of that audio.
That's what I'm doing.
Yes, we each are coming at it from two different angles. You have to make fun of the clip.
Goodness. Are you going to smile and laugh at all during this episode? Are you? Really?
Really?
I am not making fun of Trump because he's a Republican. I am making fun of him because he sounded like a complete and total asshat in that clip. The same way Kamala Harris did talking about the passage of time, the same way J.D. Vance did ordering donuts, the same way Tim Walz did when he got caught lying about his time in Hong Kong. These people, all of them, are meant to be made fun of regardless of party affiliation. Making fun of a Republican does not make you a Democrat. Making fun of a Democrat does not make you a Republican. And that's where I came from, and those were my intentions. Now, I did have someone tell me that I have TDS.
Tiny dick syndrome?
The comment comes from someone named Nora's dad on Instagram.
I'll say this. Nora's dad, he usually has some good stuff coming at us. Good old-fashioned banter.
Nora's dad really doesn't like me.
Oh, really?
Really?
I think it's pretty cheeky, though. I don't think it's like an actual, I don't like that guy. I think he likes making fun of you, like everyone else who's ever worked with you in the past.
Nora's dad loves you. Takes what you say as gospel, really dislikes me, doesn't like me talking about half marathons, doesn't like me saying the words top dog chair, and really doesn't like me talking about...
Well, he's really gotten under your skin, hasn't he?
And he really doesn't like me talking about Donald Trump, because after our last episode, Nora's dad wrote on Instagram that, quote, Hawk's TDS is all time. And I will be honest with you, I didn't know what TDS was or what it stood for. My best guess is a acronym that you already beat me to. I honestly thought that he was saying that I had tiny dick syndrome. Because what else would TDS stand for?
I would like to hear Trump give a hypothetical story of a locker room situation with pros about your TDS. Let's see how that reaction hits the headlines. They showered with him and they looked down at Hawk and said, "This is unbelievable." And I love Hawk. the tiniest man I've ever seen in the shower. But I didn't say it. I'm just inferring it, and all your assumptions are going to jump to the headlines. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Hawk.
I did look up TDS, and believe it or not, popped right up. TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, and it is actually a somewhat commonly used phrase. And Trump Derangement Syndrome, according to Wikipedia, is a pejorative term used by Trump supporters to discredit any criticism of Trump as a way of reframing the discussion by suggesting that his opponents and detractors are incapable of accurately perceiving the world. That is awesome. And I mean it. That is so awesome. There is nothing I truly love more than simply pressing play on a piece of audio, believing that Trump was speaking about Arnie's crank, standing by that belief, and having someone on social media accuse me of being incapable of accurately perceiving the world. God bless America.
It's a pretty emotionally stretched response right there. I was busy after Monday. I didn't listen to the pod, and you gave me grief multiple times. Have you listened to it yet? Have you listened to it yet? And you were all concerned about it. Then I started going, oh, fuck, he's worried. So I go back and listen to it, and your exact words were, you didn't come off good, is what you said.
First off,
that's what you told me.
No, because listen.
Hold on.
I would never say
I'm
you
the interrupter, not you.
But
you know?
I have to correct something. I would never say you didn't come off good, because I would never be grammatically incorrect. I might have said you didn't come off well.
Whatever, dude. You didn't come off good. That was his exact words. I wish I could find the text. I can't find it right now. We don't have enough time.
I said well.
The time slot's running out. I listened to it again. For you to sit here and try to tell me with a straight face that you weren't annoyed and pulled back and quiet and like sad guy during that episode when all that was going down, that is probably one of the biggest lies you've ever tried to commit towards me. And I think that this specific listener could tell wasn't talking about your technical take on the situation. He was talking about you clearly had an issue with what was going down. And it wasn't that you weren't getting to your punchlines. I can sniff it out. Mr. Nuance he's got some holes in his pocket, folks. He's losing some change down the old denim. And it's okay. I don't hold it against you. I still love you. We can go back and forth, but when the smile goes away, that's the first tell. If we were playing poker, I'd be like, I got you. Got you, bitch. You were clearly feeling a certain way about it, and you still did days after. And I think the fact that we're doing this right now just kind of solidifies that, in my opinion, as fact. And that's okay. You're a good guy, and you want to get across to the listener that we can both have a heated debate and still be best friends. And this show showcases that two guys can be opposing on things and have fun about it. And that is the lesson here, folks, because whether Adam was super bummed and had extreme TDS or if it was just sprinkled a little bit on top of his coffee, what matters here is that we're able to sit across from each other and take these headphones off afterwards and just get back to work, and it doesn't matter. And if that was the way the world was in this political climate right now, if that's how it was, the world would be a better place. Because we can all disagree, but we all cut and bleed and wipe our asses with fucking toilet paper. Unless you have a bidet, that would be nice. But it's all good. I guess what I'm trying to say is I appreciate that you were able to show your feelings in the last episode by being so upset about what we were talking about.
May I?
Is this the ending you had me here for over there?
No. We're going to pivot out of this in just a second. We're not ever going to come back to it.
Thank God.
All I want to say for the last time, and please don't interject, I was not bummed. I was not awkward. I was not butthurt. I wear many hats when we do this podcast. writer, host, producer, editor, brand manager for how we come off to the audience. So when I teed this up originally on Monday, expecting that we were going to do comedy, and you took an angle that I have still not heard anyone in the United States of America take, that threw me. And I immediately went into producer mode of, where is this conversation going to go? How do we get it back on the rails? How do I have this conversation without turning it into an argument? How do we put this episode out and stand by it? And that is why my facial expressions might have changed while we were doing it. Was I bummed? Was I awkward? Was I butthurt? Absolutely not. My wheels were literally spinning.
Which you could argue was awkward. You could say awkward. I'll take back the bummed part. I've heard what you said. I will accept that as an extreme possibility, but you're definitely awkward about it. That's fair to say.
The point of today's episode,
I mean, is it not?
Was to give you the chance to address what people were saying about what you said on Monday. And as your friend, business partner, podcast co-host, for me to call you up and say, would you like to address this stuff, is reasonable, thoughtful, nice. And I don't want to be accused today of being emotional, bummed, awkward, full of TDS if my entire position was to give you the platform again.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning part of what you said. You said hearing my take on it threw you off the rails because no one in America was saying that. Maybe that's, again, my point. Both sides are trash, and everyone's knee-jerking one way or the other, and they don't realize they're doing it. And my take was, I gave him the dolphin, and that's it. Because you know who should be called Mr. Nuanced? You know who is right in the middle, Mr. Moderate?
Do not embarrass yourself here.
Well, I don't give myself nicknames, but if I did, I'd think about it a little harder than the guy who just slapped one so silly on his own forehead. Can we get to some of your jokes that we missed, please?
No, because Scott Miller told them all.
Fuck!
You said what you said on Monday. You said what you said today. You can live with it. I have done my best to simply listen, moderate, and present to the audience that I don't care. Now, you and I will still remain friends. We're going to get back to golf on Monday. And in fact, we're going to pivot out of politics right now for the rest of time. And here's what we are going to talk about. From the water park to Hawaii to Disneyland.
What a world we live in.
That has been your itinerary the last couple of weeks. Water park, Hawaii, Disneyland, and now you're saying you ate a sushi dinner last night. How many more texts are you going to send me complaining about the money that you don't have?
Yeah, well, yeah. It is what it is. You got to make plans. It's a famous Rich Engle quote. We made plans. I know what's coming because I handle the finances for the family. Fall holiday is the worst, financially speaking. And we're just tipping our toes into it. So this was kind of our last hurrah to act like everything's all gravy before we barrel down the hatches.
Okay, so you're tiptoeing into something that most people dip their toes into, and you're barreling down the hatches when most people batten down the hatches. And your logic right now is we're about to spend so much money during fall holiday that let's just warm up for it by spending a lot of money before fall holiday.
I know, man. Isn't it wild? What are you going to do, man? What can you do? What will you do?
Kevin Costigan on YouTube posted this 12 days ago. I've been meaning to get to it. What are both of your go-to putters? I've got a Stan Thompson Demon, but it's been betraying me lately, and I'm looking to switch things up. Also, are there any plans to make some nation slacks? Ryan, your Ozzy Osbourne impression was incredible.
It was. Especially if you ever saw that episode. The DVD thing.
Yeah. I know. I teed you up for it. Your go-to putter. And look, just for a second,
You're asking the wrong guy.
I want you to put a timer in your head of giving this take in 60 seconds or less. Because, folks, the man right now is surrounded by 60 putters. We could be here all day.
I've collected old putters for a long time. Obviously, I think Karsten Solheim is, from an engineering standpoint and club designer, probably the greatest of all time. That essentially comes from his 1966 Dalehead version of the Ping Answer putter, the original Answer, ANSER. If you're a golf purist, collector, or gamer of any kind, and you don't own an original, a replica, any type of Ping Answer style putter, then we're not even going to continue this conversation. You have to have one. I have a number of the mid-90s Scotty ripoff Ping Answers. I've got different variations of different releases of the re-releases of all the Ping Answers. I have a couple original ones. If you're not getting to know how to putt with a plumber's neck style blade Ping Answer, preferably a Dalehead, I guess I would just say start there. That's kind of the standard and has been since 1966, the most copied design in history. Whatever you do, leave those bread boxes on a spaghetti noodle in the used bin, because no grown man should ever putt with a mallet. You heard it here first. And we will be making trousers soon. We're developing them shortly. I'm hoping we can get them out by spring, summer. Getting into new garments from scratch is a lot easier said than done. But yeah, 60 seconds or less. How did I do? 2.5 minutes?
I don't know. I stopped timing. Great take. I am lost in the absolute visual comedy that I wish people could have seen. As you were uttering the words, no grown man should putt with a mallet, a crusty white purse dog was jumping on your lap.
Purse dog is a 20-pound animal. Can't put that in a purse. Get out of here with your assumptions, you deranged individual.
As someone who said on Monday's show that I am obsessed with the English language, I'm going to start putting in PSAs for grammar in these episodes. And to everyone who uses the term flush out for when you want to get in a group with some people and talk about an idea and bring it to life, you are using the wrong term. It is flesh out, not flush out. You flush out a bad idea. You get rid of it. You flesh out and put meat on the bone for something good. So to all you corporate workers hammering away at your keyboards on Zoom meetings, it is flesh out, not flush out. And the word infamous is not interchangeable with famous. They mean two very different things. Infamous is to be known for something bad.
Bad can be good, dude. You heard Michael Jackson.
All right. That's going to do it for us. That was a whole...
Are you happy now? Oh, you sad?
No, I'm not sad at all.
Are you awkward?
I'm not awkward.
Really?
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
Great app, dude. I'm sure people are going to really love it.
Like I said last time, free podcast, free country, free time. Do with it what you will.
Yeah. Let's work on the topics a little bit. Let's not just jump to these negative assumptions on headline news.
You're kidding. You did not just try to end the episode. I don't know what I'm more offended by. The fact that I did not jump to... Hold on.
Maybe.
I don't know if I'm more offended by the fact that you are saying that I brought in assumptive headline news.
I'm not saying anything.
Or that you just told me to work on the topics. The next topic you work on will be the first.
I got topics for days.
All right, I guess we need to get out of here because Mr. Water Park to Hawaii to Disneyland to sushi dinner is probably headed to a cruise or to the dealership to buy a luxury car. Either way, I cannot wait to get the text message about how broke he is. Thank you so much for listening to The Fellowship. Believe it or not, we will talk to you in just a few days on Monday.
Maybe.
Maybe. Go Dodgers.